Hello again. Hello again. I'm Shane DeBach, native English teacher in South Korea. I work at Maesong Elementary School and Wado Middle School. Today I'm at Wado Middle School, and you just saw a sample of one of my classes, a very brief sample. But today, right now, I'd like to introduce myself and tell you who I am and what I'm about. Again, my name's Shane. I'm originally from La Crosse, Wisconsin. I actually came to Korea the first time about 18 years ago when I was in the Army, and I fell in love with Korea. I absolutely loved my time here. It was very brief, it was 1 year, but I absolutely loved it. I fell in love with the people, the culture, and the food, history. And when I left Korea, I always promised myself to come back someday. I didn't know how I was going to do it or what I was going to do. I just knew I had to come back to Korea. Eventually, I got out of the Army and I went to college full-time, and I studied cultural anthropology and archaeology, and I remembered my passion or how much I enjoyed living in Korea and the people and the culture. So obviously my emphasis was on cultural anthropology, and I wanted to learn more about Korea. So when I finished my undergraduate, I went to London, the University of London School of Oriental and African Studies, where my master's degree is in Korean Studies. So I studied about Korean history and focused on the culture as well. So I absolutely just love it. And the obvious next step after my master's degree was to come to Korea. And I heard about teaching, and I thought, well, that's an interesting idea. I've never really taught before. Even though in the Army I was a leader and I did teach my soldiers, but that's not quite the same. So I wanted to come to Korea and see what this teaching was about. I thought it was a great opportunity to continue my education with Korean culture and the language. I'm struggling learning the language, but I wanted to come here and also share my culture through teaching English. And I was fortunate enough to get a teaching job 7 years ago. December 2011, I was able to pick up a contract from an American who left early, and I've been teaching in public schools since then, so for the past 7 years. And I absolutely love teaching. I can honestly say it's the best job I've ever had. For me, being a teacher, the best part is working with children. I love working with children. And the reason why is because I like being a mentor, being a mentor and shaping and help molding children and inspiring them to be better and guide them so maybe I can inspire them to do something bigger than themselves. And also I get to share my culture as well, because I believe language and culture are very much the same thing. With my anthropology background, there's a strong connection between the two. So when I teach, I like to share my culture as much as possible because I feel it adds more value to the classroom and for the students. Plus, it's just a fun way to learn. And a lot of my kids who maybe are not interested in English at first, if I throw in some extra cultural lessons or tie them into language learning, they find it a lot of fun. I try to make English very accessible to my students because I know in Korea it's mandatory to take a foreign language, English specifically, and I know how stressful learning a foreign language can be. I took 2 years of French in high school, and plus my master's degree I did an elementary Korean introductory course, which was extremely difficult. So I understand the stress and anxiety my students have. I sympathize with them. So when I'm teaching, I try to be very mindful of that and try to make their experience much more fun and easier, just to make them get something out of it, and I try to streamline it to each student as much as possible, because not every student is on the same learning level. Some students really struggle, so I always make myself accessible whenever. I'm never too busy for my students. In fact, I talk to them a lot between classes and during lunch, or even after school. If they see me, I'll stop and listen to them and help them out as much as possible. And that's very helpful. I've noticed a lot of students who have been struggling, when they get that extra attention, that extra help, it really motivates them to want to do better in class. But I just love my job. I can't say enough about it. Also, aside from my job being very important to me, I'm married to a wonderful, wonderful Korean woman, Kyung-mi. She's my best friend. Her and I have built a great life together. I'm proud to say I have 2 stepchildren, a stepson and a stepdaughter who are absolutely amazing. So I have a Korean family here, father and mother-in-law. I absolutely just love Korea. Korea is my new home. I am definitely committed to stay here for forever, basically. I'm proud to say currently I have an F6 visa, but I'm proud to say I just applied for an F5 visa. It's in the process, and we'll see where that goes. But anyhow, that was it. I wrote down some other things. Let's see. Well, I think that was about it for now. Anyhow, I hope you learned something about me. I really appreciate you watching this video and taking the time to do so. If you need to contact me, want to get more information, I've submitted my CV and my email address and phone number. Again, my name is Shane DeBach, and thank you so much for your time.